Makes us look more professional. Oh my goodness.
The phone.
Why
the phone is ringing.
This might be a fun part to put in.
There's an animal in trouble.
Please stop.
There's an animal in trouble somewhere. That was so bad, but I don't care. The phone is ringing.
All those shows I used to watch as a child.
Mr. D's room.
Or actually.
Good, how you doing? Huh? Absolutely. We'll take care of that. Yeah.
We'll take care of it.
Taking care of what? Hello everybody, welcome back to Portable Thoughts, episode 9. We have a bunch of stuff planned for you, and it's going to be great. You're going to enjoy it very much. What are we doing, Kara?
Well, we're going to be interviewing Mr. D. I'm going to be talking about fireworks and safety and what happens when you misuse fireworks and some consequences and a story about that.
You could die.
You could.
Please be careful.
Yes. And then I think we're doing a catch up on the school, like see what we're doing here, and maybe a couple other things, so.
Yeah, and we are actually back from Christmas break.
We are.
Which is very fun.
This is our second day back from Christmas break. It is currently, on the day of this recording, it is January 9th, 2024. We graduate this year.
Hopefully, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So, what did you do over Christmas break, Kara?
I relaxed quite a bit. I read quite a bit and got, I think, 5 new books. So I started reading those. Got some new stuff for my car. That was pretty great. What about you?
Well, I opened Christmas presents on Christmas Day, the day before and after. So that was a really fun time. And then after that, just played video games till like 3 a.m. every night. Worked on the weekends. Drove around town with a couple of my friends. That was nice. That was fun.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, we left Ella in the trunk.
Oh.
Drove around town and then told her she was... we actually stayed in the parking lot she got in. No. I messed up my story. We're just not going to talk about that now.
Sounds like we shouldn't. What do you think teachers did over break? Let's start with Mr. D. I heard that he just relaxed quite a bit and enjoyed time with Dayton and his wife. I think Miss Williams went down to North Carolina to visit some of her family, but they came back early because of like some sicknesses and stuff.
Oh.
Yeah. She did finish our student design t-shirts. Those will be out this Friday.
Order them. We need the money.
Well, they're already ordered. They'll be handed out this Friday.
So if you did order them, your shirt's going to be here soon.
Yes.
Don't worry about it.
I think Miss Feldbosch and Miss Boger basically just relaxed. What about your mom? What'd your mom do?
My mom, she planned this whole thing. Actually, all the teachers got together in like a big circle and talked about the best way to torture us the rest of the year.
What?
She told me not to tell anybody, and now I'm going to die.
Oh.
Help me.
So this is just between us. They can't know.
Well, they do now.
Well, I guess. So what was their torture method?
Homework.
Oh.
Lots of it.
We didn't really get homework.
More than Mr. Brinkman hands out. And he doesn't even hand out that much.
Except for senior thesis. That's quite a chore of a class.
Love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's...
No, but what she actually did is basically the same thing as me. We all stayed up till 3 a.m. doing something every night. They'd be watching movies, I'd watch John Wick or play video games or whatever. It was actually a really nice Christmas break. I hope everyone enjoyed their Christmas break.
Yeah, comment down below and tell us what you guys did. If you have a fun story, like somewhere you went or something that happened, you might have your story posted on a podcast with us. Let us know.
All right. Enjoy the episode, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome back. Right now I am going to tell us our story and what happens when you play with fireworks. So the story is from 2014. Mike Oberman was doing what most Americans do 4th of July, grilling and hanging out with friends and family. It was all fun and games until it wasn't. On July 4th, 2014, Mike Oberman was chilling and celebrating the freedom of our nation when a lawless firework blew into the Detroit man's chest and ended his life. He was spending the 4th of July like millions of Americans, grilling and celebrating a bonfire blazing. Ron, 55 of Detroit, said his friend Mike Oberman, 44 of Detroit, at a house on Detroit's west side Friday night. They had a fire pit ablazing and they were grilling when they started shooting off fireworks in the driveway. Just before 10:30 p.m., Oberman let off a firework and it lawlessly flew into him instead of shooting into the air. A friend that was nearby noted this was a routine that Oberman had done many times in the past, but it had never shot into his chest. It was like a flash, like a bomb, and he fell backwards. I went over there and grabbed his hand and said, "Hey Mike, it'll be all right," and placed a pillow under his head, but his friend did not respond. Within a minute, Mike had no pulse. He was gone. Moman and Oberman worked in construction together. Oberman had 4 daughters whom he talked about often. He was separated from them and their mother. "I know he was a good guy who loved his kids," said Moman, who had known Oberman for about 10 years. "It's a tragedy what happened that night. I would never want to go through that again," Moman said. "People who mess with fireworks, I don't even want to be around none of that." Oberman's death has been ruled accidental. He died of a perforation to the chest by a projectile, according to the Waynes County Medical Examiner's Office. Family and friends describe him as a very energetic family man that cared deeply for his 4 children. Oberman's family stated that this will be a very painful loss to not have him around anymore. Foul play was not indicated in this incident. However, this is a warning to all other amateur firework users. Fireworks are banned in Massachusetts and used to be banned in Michigan due to safety hazards. It is estimated that fireworks kill over 500 people worldwide every year. The primary cause of death is a misfired firework that strayed onto a house and then causes a chain of fires. However, an estimated 50 people per year are killed by directly getting hit with fireworks. This is not very alarming, but we should never get too comfortable with such a potential killer. So as the story states, fireworks can be very dangerous. In Massachusetts, Michigan, and a couple other states, they were illegal to get fireworks that exploded in the air. You could have like the handheld sparklers and like little ground ones, but anything that went off in the air was illegal. They are now not, but we still need to be careful and not be lawless with them, because anything like this could happen. He didn't mean for it to hit him in the chest, but it did, and he died within minutes. So just take this as a warning and just be safe.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Portable Thoughts. It is homecoming week here at BCCS. Obviously, since we don't have a football team and we're a smaller school, we have homecoming for basketball. So, I, Zach, your host, obviously, also have Brody, who is on the basketball team and is part of our crew.
Co-host.
We also have Jordan, who is one of the basketball players here. And so we're just going to ask you a couple questions about sort of some stuff. So let's just start us off with how's the season going? Because I know last year you guys did pretty well.
It's going great. 6-2. We lost to Wyoming Warriors twice. Tragic. We should have beat them. But yeah, it's going well.
Okay.
Dale's not happy about that.
Oh my lord! All right. So who are you playing for homecoming on Friday?
I honestly can't tell you.
All
I
right,
haven't
that's
heard.
great to know. Don't know your opponent well. So we're gonna have to find that out. Just going into this game, what are you kind of expecting to happen here?
Blowout.
Win.
All right, just a classic blowout. Get a couple 20-0 runs and just beat them by 40.
Pretty much.
I've seen a couple of your guys' scores. They've seen me beating some people pretty badly. So, yeah. You got anything to ask him, Brody?
No.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so we've got Noah, the star player, the center.
Yes, sir.
So, I know you're captain.
Yes, sir.
So just coming back from last year, you guys lost to Algoma
Yeah.
very tragically
Thanks for bringing that
in
up.
the championship or conference.
Unfortunately.
So coming into this year, back from that, how are you guys kind of looking to fix some things and do a little better just to take it all back?
Well, Coach been at us a lot for it, so we're really gonna take it to him this year. For sure.
Okay. You got anything, Brody?
Are you dunking?
Not yet,
Ooh.
but expect one for homecoming. It's
All
gonna,
right,
it's gonna happen.
You better get those reps in.
It's gonna happen.
I'd be very disappointed in you if
Work
you
out
do
your
not
calves.
pull one out.
Yes, I'm gonna get one. I'm gonna get one.
All right. Slam it down right on top of somebody.
Yes, sir.
It's
pretty
between
big.
nuts and his pig.
Okay, so Isaiah Lanfear,
Yeah.
you are obviously the son of the coach.
Son of the coach.
Your dad coaches the team. You're the point guard.
Yep.
Not quite the shortest one on the team, but
No, not yet.
definitely seems like you were the smallest one. You end up on the floor a lot during soccer season.
Heard that my whole
life. All right, that's a little much information for us, but so obviously you kind of lead on the team a little differently than Noah. It's the point guard. You bring the
Yeah.
ball up court and
Right.
kind of. I'm not sure exactly if you guys play calling and such for basketball, or if you need to do that.
I call it the plays.
So, all right.
Yeah.
Kind of, again, you were there starting last year as a freshman and lost to Algoma, and just kind of, from your perspective, what are you guys changing and working on to come back and win this year?
We lost because it's bogus, but I mean, what are we gonna change? Well, I guess we have like 3 new players, or not new players, but new starters at least. That'll help. I mean, the other guys were good, but they're really good, but I think we got better over the summer. And yeah.
All right. What are you looking at to the homecoming game? Kind of, what's coming up with that?
I mean, excited. Don't know who we play yet, but
Yeah.
it'll be good. Should win.
All right.
Hopefully Calhoun stops ducking us. Calhoun, if you're watching this, you got a bunch of bums play us. Your 80's a bum, but yeah.
All right. Some shots fired. Call out today.
They're never
Straight
gonna
up.
see this.
Well, might have to forward it to him.
The
Isaiah.
camera's 4K.
Yeah.
Are we still on?
Welcome back, everybody, to BCCS Update. We got some nice and fancy updates for you. Want to start us off?
Well, I heard you guys had a basketball game last night. How'd that go?
You don't want to talk about it.
Heard you guys lost
Yeah.
67 to 64.
By 3 points, we lost.
It's quite close
Yeah, it was a really fun game to watch.
to watch. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, tonight, the men's JV basketball has a home game versus Calhoun Christian.
Yes.
And the varsity team against Libertas got rescheduled.
To win, we don't know yet. Unless it's been posted on ban and I haven't realized.
But
No.
Badgers wrestling is tonight from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. They also have it January 11th from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. The B team girls is away on the 12th at Sacred Heart. Their game starts at 4:30. The A team girls is also at Sacred Heart, and their game starts at 5:30. The MJV is away at Sacred Heart at 5:45, and MVB is at Sacred Heart, or they're going against Sacred Heart at Waynes at 7 p.m. That's our sports. Waymas. Sorry, it does not look like that. It says WAMES. Do you have anything to add?
No, I think you've covered it pretty good.
Our
Friday game, that's the way.
Yes. Our homecoming game is coming up soon. We don't know who we're playing yet, but it is January 26th. There is no times posted, but just keep that in the back of your mind so you guys can come watch the homecoming game.
All you need to know is that whoever it is, we're beating them.
Every year.
Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm. We never lose on our home court. I think we never had varsity anyway. Yeah, you can cut that part out. That's just wrong information right there.
But yeah, quick short update. We mentioned this once already, but the t-shirts are getting passed out this Friday from our student design contest. Those look pretty cool. Kind of sad yours didn't win. Yours
Yeah.
look cool, but
Still butthurt about
But yeah.
that. If you did order a sweatshirt or t-shirt and it has red on it, wear it to Red Out Night. You get in for free.
Yes. Well, continue listening. Hope you guys are enjoying it and have fun.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another podcast episode on Portable Thoughts. I'm here with Brody and Mr. D, our director, basically, of the Portable Thoughts, and we're gonna interview this guy, and it's gonna be spicy. Yeah. So, Mr. D, let's start off with, so how do you start off with your journey towards this school?
Oh, that is a long journey.
That's what I'm looking for.
Enjoy your parfait. It's going to take a minute.
Yeah, all right.
So, this is going to take us back to the 1900s. No, I'll give you a brief summary of how I got here. I'll try to be brief. But, no, I grew up in a Christian household. About 3 people in the Bible I can really relate to. Saul, Peter, and prodigal son. Those are the 3 that I relate to most. I'll try to explain that as we go, but I grew up in a family band, Christian band, but we did country music too. We used to label it the Redneck Partridge Family because it was like that. It was country music, so it was like, kind of rednecky. My dad's hillbilly from Louisiana, but we traveled. We did fairs, festivals, churches, pretty much anywhere, and so I got to see music and how it worked at an early age, which was cool, and it was not cool because I also got to see a lot of hypocrisy in the church. Lots. We were in a different church every week, so it was like I'd see people arguing, and then all of a sudden they had smiles on their faces because they walked in the church door. I just saw a lot of, and I was too young to understand that that has nothing to do with God. That's just human nature of sin. And so I would be like, these people are hypocrites. Well, we're all hypocrites. But at the time, it really messed with my belief system. So in my teens, I wasn't an atheist. I still believed. I just didn't care, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Almost like agnostic.
Yeah. I believe this. I believe God is real. Yeah. I'm going to go do my own thing. So 16, I got involved in some heavy metal bands, which was cool. I learned a lot from them. I don't want to ever go back, not because the music was bad, the people were bad, but I still am a fan of metal music today. But it was the people, the culture, a lot of issues. But I learned a lot about music, a lot about traveling. I thought I was super cool because the people in the bands were much older than I was. So I was like the baby. They were all graduated high school, and we were traveling in a dirty old van, even out of state sometimes. And I was like, cool. This is the road I want to live on, you know. But the truth is like, road life looks glamorous when you're talking about Taylor Swift or people, but like when it's 4 dudes living in a stinky van, like it gets old real quick. So about 6 months later, I was like, okay, I'm done with this. And I went to a different band. I just did bands locally. I barely graduated high school because of my attendance record. Just didn't have my priorities straight. Like, there's nothing wrong with what I learned in music and wanting to pursue music. I just wasn't doing things properly. So I made a lot of mistakes. That's where I line up with Saul. Like, Saul was doing things that God wanted him to do. He wasn't waiting on the Lord's time. He's just like, I'll just do it now because I want to. And that's kind of how I was. And so I did graduate and moved on into bigger, better things, and eventually got married. And what was funny is I had gotten into some trouble with the law. And so I decided to quit music because I related music to getting in trouble. Every time I was getting in trouble, I was playing music. So it was like, it was just like, I don't even think I ever said that like out loud. It was just something that I was like, okay, I need to stop because I'm going to get myself in serious trouble. And so when I met my future wife, I don't think she even realized I was a musician because I'd sold my stuff. Like I think I might have had like a cheap $100 guitar that was under the bed that I'd pull out from time to time, play like an old Metallica tune or something. Like, as far as like that stuff has pretty much gone. And then we got married in 06, and then in 09 we moved into an apartment complex, and there was a gentleman there that I would see like every day walking by. We'd wave. I had no idea his name. I didn't know who he was. Nothing. Just walked by. Well, my dad had called me, and he's like, hey, can we do a reunion show for this country thing? And I haven't played in years, but I was like, to my dad, okay. I actually had to borrow a guitar to do the show, bass guitar. And I go to my dad's to practice, and the guitar player didn't show up. And so my dad's like, what are we going to do? And anyway, the drummer knew this guy. So he was like, let me call him. Let me call this guy. He just lives down the road. Calls this guy. 20 minutes later, the guy that I wave to every single day is down in my basement. He's the guitar player. Him and I, to this day, are best friends. But his name's Eric, and he was like, dude, I see you in my apartment complex every day. I'm like, yeah. And so we started getting to know each other. And he had a recording studio in his apartment. So I would go down there all the time, every chance I got. I'd go down and learn stuff. And then one day he's just like, hey, I am part of this traveling country show which is funny because it was for Colgate with the toothpaste. But years ago, this is a long time ago, before American Idol was huge. I think American Idol was on TV, but it wasn't like dominant. But Colgate Country Showdown had been going on for like 30 years, where it would travel around the United States, and they would do basically what American Idol does. They do auditions through radio stations. So each radio station in the area would do like host auditions, and then they would do state finals. Then the winners of the state finals would compete in like the regionals, and then the regionals would go on to the Ryman in Nashville for the winner. The winner got like $100,000 and a record, an album made or something like that. It wasn't like huge like Idol was, but it was decent. It had different hosts. Like one year was like Leanne Rimes, and then one year was Patty Loveless, I think is her last name. I don't know. Anyway, different like kind of has been washed up country singers, but it was still cool. Like, I shouldn't say they were has-beens because they had bigger careers than I ever did, but just they weren't like dominant on the radio type people. But and I was like, no, I can't do it. He wanted me to go on tour with him. I can't do it because I'd quit, and I told myself, because I'd rededicated my life to God. I'm like, I'm not in. And he is responsible basically for everything I've done since then, because he showed me that I could play music and not do dumb stuff. Like, I could not get into trouble. I could, play a show, have fun on stage, and not have to join people at the bar or have to, drive 100 miles an hour and be crazy. It just, because there's a stigma with music and musicians that you think that you have to follow, and you get into that life and you get sucked in. And so he showed me that, because he's a family man. He doesn't do any of those things. Jimmy, the drummer, he's the same way. He he goes after the show. He looks like a rock star on stage, but yet after the show, he's with his family. He's not partying. He's not, and I'm like, wow, I can hang out with these guys. And so I played music off and on with them since. It's like 09, so what, 15 years or something, going on 15. But then after that, I just like, I really want to pursue music. But at that point, I had a wife and a family, and it was like, okay, it's gonna be a little harder now. That's why I always tell people, if you got a dream, like, try to follow that before you go do everything. Don't go backwards like I did. But so I worked at a gas station as a store manager and tried to do like music lessons on the side. Then I went to GM, worked for GM for a few years, still doing that. And here's a great example of what God wants you to do. When I was at GM, they laid us off, and the Lord said, I want you to teach music full time. Now, I didn't know it was talking about Barry County, but he said, I want you to do music. So I started teaching at an art gallery in Charlotte after hours, like after school hours, and I was up to like, I think pre-COVID, I was like at 48 students a week. So it was decent cash. And what's funny is I was actually making more money doing that than I was working at GM.
Uh-huh.
But when you've got family that's old school, and you've got, your brain is set to way, like my dad would always be like, when are you going to get a real job? When are you going to get a real, it was just, and he wasn't like being mean. It's just how things were programmed for people back then. Like, that's what you did. You got a certain age, you got a factory job, or you did something, and then you died. You know what I mean? I was like, that's how it worked.
No, that's how it is now. Like with like kind of your generation, a little bit older, is like very like, you go to college, get this and and die.
Yeah. And the thing is like GM in the 70s, when Dad started working there, GM was like, you just hit the lottery if you got into GM. But they haven't raised their pay in 30 years. So, when they started, he told me it's like 1972, he started making, like, I think he was making like $15 an hour when he started working in 1972. Minimum wage at the time was like $2 an hour. Yeah. So, I mean, they were balling. And I got hired in at like $17.50. So like $2 more, and like look at the difference in pricing and everything. So it was like, I think GM, like, it has a stigma to it still, like, oh wow, you got a great job. And I'm not saying it's a bad job, but I was actually making more money. But I was hearing all these people like, dude, like, you gotta go back to GM. So when GM called me back, it was like the Lord was saying, no, I want you to do this. But then I had all this pressure from my dad and all these people like, you're crazy, GM, you're set, blah, blah. And I was just like, okay. And I went back. And so I lost like all of that. And so I went back, and like 3 months later, they laid me off again because I was on the bottom of the totem pole, not because of my performance. And what I learned about places like that, they don't care how good you work. It has nothing to do with it. You can't be like, well, let's not get rid of Dickerson because he's, good work or whatever. I actually got in trouble for working too hard in there.
Really?
They'd be like, dude, the boss told me that. He's like, dude, you started sweeping like that and stuff like that, and they're going to expect everybody in here to do that. And then you're going to have 150 people mad at you. And I'm like, okay, my bad. But, so they laid us off, and I was just like, this was stupid. I had to start from scratch. I had lost most of my, I kept a handful of them, but like, I lost almost all of my students and nothing, you know what I mean? So it was like, so I started teaching again, but I still had to build all that up. And one of my students was Chance, that used to go to school here. And Chance's mom was the one that was like, hey, Barry County's looking for a music teacher. And when she first told me that, it was like Satan was like, no, you're not good enough. Like, you're not educated enough to go teach at a school. Like, just stop. Like, but then I was like, you know what? Let me at least go to the interview just to see what it's like and everything. I really did not intend on even probably being here or even staying. Like, I don't know. I went in. This is probably the first thing in my life I went in not really having any expectation. I'm like, I'm just gonna go. I just felt led, and I'm sure now I know it's God that led me here. But like at the time, I had no idea. It was like I just felt driven to do the interview. So I'm like, okay. I go in and had a meeting with Brandon and Michelle Hithorn, and like immediately I just felt like this is where I need to be. So I'm like, I want this job. And I swear on my life, I did not care about that job until I sat in that interview. Like, you can ask my wife, I really didn't care. I sat in there and it was just like this, I just felt this energy, like this is where I need to be. And Brandon's like, dude, Mr. Strong's like, dude, like, slow your roll. I haven't told you pay or anything. I'm like, I don't care. Like, I want to be here. And then I found out pay, and I was like, but I was like,
that's pretty bad.
Sorry. I was like, I still want to be there. I still want to do it. And because I saw the collaborative, I saw the family orientedness of it. Like Mr. Strong lets me do music lessons in here after school. Like that's super cool. Like they can't pay you what they want to pay you, but they try to make up for it. And I was just like, I see that. I see like everybody's got each other's back. And I've been here, this is my 3rd year. I have not witnessed any faculty drama or any staff drama or fights or, you know what I mean? Like he said, she said stuff. I mean, yeah, you get that with like younger kids, but like the teacher, like everybody's like, it's like family. Like I don't want to go anywhere else. Like I want to be here forever if I can afford it, and God lets me be here. But no, it's been a journey, and I tell a lot of people like it took me 36 years to figure out what I wanted to do, and I hope that doesn't happen with other people. I think it was because I'm stubborn and I'm stupid, and like Saul, I just do things. I would do things just if I wanted to do it. I was like, there was no preparation, there was no praying, there was no. I'm just gonna go do it. Like that's how I was. Like even like on vacation, like I would just be there. Like my buddies would be sitting there, like, let's go to Chicago. Okay, we just get in the car and drive to Chicago. Like we'd run out of gas halfway there because we didn't have any money. But like that's how I was. Like my brain is just impulsive, and so I'm learning that can be a good thing and also be a bad thing. So, but like it took me a long time to figure out what my niche was, and I hope that for everybody else that that doesn't happen. And I think if you are praying and really diligently trying to figure those things out, and then once you do figure it out, don't just dive in. Like, okay, how do I want to go about it? And I know that for like a lot of people like me, that can be like a drag. Like, oh, I don't want to do all that preparation stuff. I just want to jump into it. Like, you're killing me with all of this stuff. Like, but it really is important. So if I could teach people something on a worldly level, like it's really just don't jump. Just find something and then really study it, figure out what you want to do with it. But you know what? I will say this: it's been a fun journey getting to where I am. So I guess there's pros and cons to both sides of that, but stubborn people have to learn things the hard way. And I never learned anything the easy way. I was always that person that like I didn't see what people were talking about until it happened to me. Like my dad could be like, if you do this, you're gonna do that. It's gonna happen. No, you're stupid. You know, like 3 days later, I'm like, he was so right. What's wrong with me? But, you know.
I mean, even when you're not like stubborn about it, there's always like some issue with. I mean, everyone's life, for sure. Like, there's some people that get it, you know, somewhat correct right off the start, and they're on a good roll, and they still, you know, they got all sorts of problems in their life.
That's true. That's true. But I just sometimes I get envious. I'll see a student, and their parent or their teacher or somebody will say something, and they'll just go, "Oh, okay." And I'll be like, man, I wish that was more like that. Okay. I was like, nah, prove it.
Yeah,
I'll be the exception. That'll happen to everybody but me. You know, and I'm like, it was just like a strong-willed. I don't even know where that came from, but no, I think that I fit in here just because of obviously my beliefs in God, but then like I don't know how many Christian schools you guys have seen or heard of or walked through, but like
This one.
Christian schools are not like this. Like, don't underestimate that, because like most Christian schools are strict, and like you can't be yourself, and you can't think for yourself. Like, and I'm not dogging Christian schools, because there are some pros to that discipline, but like I think there's more cons than pros, and I don't think that they do it out of a bad heart. I think they do it out of what they think is right, but I don't think it's right.
Kind of like a conservative mindset.
Yeah. Like, we don't allow any kind of, you know, music unless it's Christian, and we don't, you know, you have to wear a uniform, and you can't wear anything. You know, it's just, and here, that's what I was nervous going into, and like within the first 3-4 months, I realized, oh wow, this school is different. And then the more I work here, it's like, wow, they're letting me have free reign in what I'm teaching. Within reason, obviously, like I still have to get it run by them, but like they're not like, oh, you can't teach that because that's a secular song, or you can't. They're just like,
yeah, start playing like a Doja Cat song. Yeah.
But I think that even in a Christian world, there's things that we can use from a secular standpoint, still learn from them. Like if I look at, like I watch a lot of these shows that are like song dissections, like like composers and like opera singers. They'll listen to music and they'll break it down. And like that would suck if I found a really cool lesson that I want to teach, but then it's a secular song that they're dissecting, so I can't use it. Because it's not even really the song that I want to use. I mean, I'm just using the song as an example to teach these things, but I can't use it because it's, doesn't talk about God or whatever like that. I feel like that holds Christian schools back. And then, you're also not doing a very good service of like showing the kids. I don't know how we got on the subject, but showing the kids like what's really out there. You're like sheltering them. At some point in their life, they're going to be out in that world, So like if you're not doing them any favors by just making this little church camp or whatever school, where all the outside's blocked out. And I think we have a really good balance of keeping it godly while not being overly strict and crazy with all those things. But that's my summarized version of how I got here. I mean, I know it's kind of lengthy, but it's funny though. The older you guys get, you'll notice like, how did I get here? And you'll notice the story goes farther back and farther back. No, it didn't start here because how did I get there? And it backtracks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like when something goes wrong, you can kind of track it back to, like, good and bad. You'd be like, well, this happened to me, and you can be like, bitter and resentful about it. But you track it back, you're like, oh, that's where I messed up. Yeah.
It's me every day.
Every day. I screwed up there,
When you did music, your heavy metal days, rock and roll, did you ever make any money out of it, or was it just for fun?
It's funny that you bring that up. We were just having this fun conversation with Eric the other day. Like, metal is about, I would say that, how do I put this? Metal music and rock music is more about the music. And I don't mean that disrespectful to any other genre, but like they're just like, I want to go play, and places know that, so they'll exploit that. Because we opened up for like Mushroom Head and bands, like big metal bands back in the day. I don't even know if those bands are still around, but we played at Harpo's all the time, which I do not recommend anybody going to Harpo's. This is a horrible dive on Harper Street, Detroit. But it was not uncommon to hear, shootings going on. It was just not a good place to play. And I wouldn't let my kid go there. But they would be like, you get a certain percentage of the door. So like if they, depending on how many people showed up, is how much you pay. So like there were times that we made some decent money. We'd all walk out with a couple $100 in our pocket for a gig. But then there was a lot of times where we'd walk in and there'd be like 10 people like, oh, we're screwed. I mean, like we're not making any money. Where I feel like right now in the last 15 years, where the money is at is actually in country music. Because it is more, and I don't know if it's a bad thing or good thing, but it's more pop culture-ish right now.
Exactly.
Yeah. Where it's not so much about the music, which is a negative in the sense of the music side, but on a business side, because of that, clubs, if you're a good country band, a club could easily make $1,200 to $1,500 on a Friday night. I mean, granted, you got to split that 4 or 5 ways depending on how many band members you have, but like they pay better because they know that there's more of a crowd that's going to come watch that.
Yeah.
It probably has something to do a little bit too, is that metal and rock, well, not so much rock, but metal is more of like it's not like a genre that everybody enjoys.
Yeah.
So it's more minimal. So I mean, it's like I shouldn't say, because metal is mainstream now, I would say, but it's not as mainstream as like Taylor Swift or Garth Brooks or whatever. You know what I mean? We're like, so like if you go and you play at a top 40 bar, if you're playing like Maroon 5, or if you're in a country band and you're playing like the old country tunes, like you could make more money that way. But what's your goal? Is your goal to be to make money then, or is your goal trying to like quote unquote make it like some people are trying to make it as country stars? Because I realized in my 40 years of life is that you can't do both. Like you either have to set out and say, I'm gonna go make money playing music, and there's nothing wrong with being a cover band. Like if that's what you want to do, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. People call them sellouts all the time and all that stuff. I don't see any issues with it. If that's what you like to do, go do it. And you can make the most money doing that. Like if I go to a bar right now, or if I go to a restaurant or whatever, and be like, can I come in and play my original music?
Yeah.
They're not gonna be like, yeah, let's pay you $1,500. You know what I mean? They want those staple songs. You know what I mean? So, like trying to, make it as an artist like Morgan Wallen or Taylor Swift or whatever is a lot harder. You can't worry about money if that's what you're trying to do. So it's. I try to advise younger, because I'm 40. I'm not gonna quote unquote make it anywhere at this point. I try to advise other people that I talk to when I talk to them, like, what is your goal with your music? Like, if you're trying to make money now and just make it as like a career, like play a cover tune and stuff, go that route. But you cannot go into bars and play covers and think that you're gonna make it as some kind of like solo artist. Like, that doesn't happen anymore. Because like 30, 40 years ago, like record companies would send out executives to go listen to these people and recruit them, and like, oh, we gotta sell. They're not. We've all, including record companies, but we'd all have to agree, we all got lazy with technology. They're just surfing. They're just looking.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, this guy's got 10 million views or whatever. Let's go check this out. Oliver Anthony comes to mind. Oliver Anthony has that song. It blows up over a week. It's got like 10 million views. RCA offers him like $8 million without even talking to him.
Yeah.
They're just like, dude, we saw your views. Like that's how a lot of it happens now. That's how Bieber got started with Usher. Was like he became like a YouTube sensation because Usher promoted him, and then they were just like, yeah, let's sign him. They didn't even like know anything about him. Like, sure, we just know he makes money. We know he attracts people.
Yeah.
And so like, if you're gonna try to make it as an artist, like you can't worry about money at that moment. Like you're it's almost like, are you trying to make money now or are you trying to make money later?
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to do both. I mean, I shouldn't say can't, because I'm sure anything's possible, but very rarely does that happen.
You'd have to be really good.
Yeah, you'd have to be very good. Because I witnessed this. I toured with Billy Sloan, who was an up-and-coming country artist back in like 2010. And it was funny because Eric and Jimmy and I were all the backing band. And he was awesome, and he still is. I'm friends with him, and he's a great guy. But you could do like 3 or 4 hits that are on the radio. Everybody would just the dance floor would be packed. People having a good time, and then he'd say like, I'm gonna do an original song, and everybody would just like, they'd go sit down or go to the bathroom or go get a drink or eat or whatever. I was like, they were done. And so it got to the point where I was like, dude, you can't even announce that. Like, don't even announce that it's original. And a lot of times, if you didn't announce it was original, they would stay out there. It's just like there's like some kind of stigma, like, oh, I don't know the song, see ya, and it sucks that it's out there, but I mean, that's how it works.
That's why we have AGT and American Idol.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. People like what they like, and I mean, you'll see fights on about Facebook, especially if you go on like music sites and stuff like, this is selling out, or this is how you do it, this is how you should do it. Like, it's just a matter of opinion. It's all subjective. Like, what do you like is going to be different than what somebody else is like. Some people love. My dad loves going and hearing original artists. Like, he'll go to some place that nobody's ever heard of and just hear this guy sing 12 original songs. There's a lot of people that'd be like, that's boring. I want to go hear the same songs that I. But that was one of the reasons why I got tired of playing the clubs and doing all this stuff. Is like one day I was on stage, and I looked out and it was like the same people, and it was different people. It was like the same crowd, no matter where you're at. Like, they want to hear the same songs. It got so boring. I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I don't have any issues with people doing that. Like, some people say, oh, do you not play clubs anymore because you're a Christian? No, I don't play clubs anymore because I'm bored of it. Like, I have a lot of Christian friends that still play clubs. Like, it's a job.
Yeah.
Like, I don't look at it any different. Like, well, it's funny, and I don't know how this segued here, but I go to church, and when I worked at Speedway, we sold booze, we sold cigarettes, we sold lottery, we sold all that stuff, blunt wraps, zigzags. I mean, you name it, right? Nobody said a word. Oh, you're store manager for a gas station? That's cool. I would tell them I'm going to do a club do a gig at a place that had alcohol, like a restaurant or a club or something. They'd be like, they'd freak out. I'm like, wait, you don't care that I just sold all this stuff over there, but now you're going to freak out because I'm just playing music at a place that serves that? Like, I'm not forcing anybody to drink anything. Like, you wouldn't care if I was an electrician going in there to do the electrical work at the restaurant or club or what.
Yeah.
Some of that stuff is it's mind-bogglingly goofy, but no, it's not why I don't do it anymore. I'll fill in from time to time, like with people, but it's just not a passion of mine anymore, and it's not wrong. It's not like I make fun of people that do it or anything. I just didn't care for it anymore. It's just like, okay, it's getting old. I really truly have a passion for teaching music, and I didn't realize I had it. Like, if you'd asked me if I was going to be a teacher 20 years ago, I would have laughed in your face. I would have. I'd be like, you're insane. But it's funny how God changes you, molds you. I think is that good? You want to add
I'm
any
trying
more
to think of
questions?
like a part where I can
yeah,
pick out
so
of what you
more.
said. So
Okay.
yeah.
Is it a touchy subject if we ask you what trouble with the law you got into?
Not at all. I'm very
Facts.
open about that. I figured that's where you guys would want to go anyway.
What happened?
The usual, you're around musicians who drink and you're drinking.
Yeah.
And I find it hilarious because I got in trouble for 2 DUIs and a possession charge all within like a 4-month span.
Oh.
So God kind of like, I really believe God had a hand in this, but it was like all of it was I had been doing this for a few years, but like everything was happening in like this little tiny time frame. And both DUIs that I got, I blew under the legal limit. It was only because I was under 21 that they called them DUIs in the first place.
Okay. Yeah.
And so it was like a 0.04, 0.06. And both of them, I was actually being very mature about. I was at home both times because I worked the next day. And like something, I won't get into details. I had friends that were just really dumb that would pull me into situations. Again, my fault. I'm not like, yes, they were dumb, but I didn't have to go with them. Peer pressure, right?
Yeah.
One of them, I was sleeping, and then they're like, dude, we can't find our friend Mark. Can you help us find him? And I was stupid enough to get in the car and be like, yeah. And I jumped in, and literally because Mark had broken the law, doing something really, really stupid that we won't get into. The cops were already looking for him, so when I pulled back in my driveway, there's a cop sitting there. And of course, he's like, you've been drinking? And I didn't want to lie. You know what I mean? So I was just like, yeah, I had a couple, but I'm fine. But then they made me do the breathalyzer thing. And the one cop was super cool. He did not want to take me to jail, the main cop, but he was training this other dude. Who was like, well, we need to take him in, and he's like, dude, he's being cool. He's trying to help his friends find the other dude, like, and they're like, if you don't, I'm gonna report. Like, he was being a real jerk. So he's like, the guy was like, hate to say this, but I have to bring you in. And I'm like, that's fine. I mean, you're doing your job. I was irritated, but like, what am I gonna do? Yell at him? But he was actually super cool. He was so cool. In fact, he didn't cuff me, and he stopped by McDonald's and got me food before he went to jail. So like, he was. But like just stupid stuff like that, and it was like, it wasn't like I went in there and got into like prison fights or anything. It was just enough to like wake me up. I'll share this really cool story since you mentioned this. The last time I was in jail, I was in there for 6 days, and the one, I don't know why, God maybe, I don't know. I don't know. This one prison guard did not like me, which is weird because even when I was living my lifestyle like that, I was not a jerk. I was very laid back. Like, he didn't like me, so they put me in solitary in this like little cell, and it wasn't like solitary that you see like on the TV where you're like in a dungeon. It was just a room. You're just in a room by yourself, right? So I'm in there, and I hadn't talked to anybody in days because I'm just sitting there, and there's no clock on the wall. The only time you can tell time is like what time they're feeding you food and stuff.
Oh no!
And this preacher comes in and knocks on the door. And he's like, can I come in and visit you? And I'm like, yes, please. At that point, I didn't care who was visiting me. Like, yeah, come in. I need to talk to somebody.
Hey, like Satan, come in. Yeah.
So he comes in, and it was actually, I didn't know it at the time, it was actually somebody my dad was friends with. Because I grew up in a Christian home. That's why I tell people all the time, like, it really doesn't matter if you grew up in a Christian home or not. If you do dumb stuff, you're going to do dumb stuff. But he starts reading these scriptures. And as he's reading them, I'm saying them with him. because back then I could probably quote scripture better than I can now because I'm old. But like I was really good at Bible drills and all that stuff. Like I was flying through it. So after about the 10th Bible verse, he gets like aggravated and he just like kind of sets his Bible down like he's mad. And I'm like, what's wrong with you, dude? And he's like, if you know all of these Bible verses, why are you here? And you know what? I know it sounds funny, but that has never left my head. He's like, you look at these other people. These people don't know this Bible. He's like, you know this, and yet you're choosing to be here. You're choosing it. And I was just like, and that was actually the point where I said, when I get out of here, my life's changing. And I did some stuff. I like quit music. Like I don't think I needed to go that far, but at the time, maybe I did because I just needed to clear my head or whatever. But I was like, he's right. And those words have always stuck with me. Like, why am I here? Like, I'm choosing this because I know better. Like the other people, they could have had horrible parents or parents that were not Christian or alcoholic parents or drug addict parents. I don't know their situation, right? But I know my situation, and I grew up where my parents were like awesome and loved me, and like if I asked for an instrument, I'd get it for Christmas or birthday or what, you know what I mean? Like why am I choosing this? This is stupid. And the reality is that people love to sin, and we like to defy God, and we like to do bad things. And I just like, this is dumb. I'm out. Like I'm gonna change my life. And so that was like the era where I started to rededicate my life to God. And because of my stubbornness, my dedication to God was not like a quick. I see so many people where it's like one day they're this like horrible person, the next day they're just like, whoop, you know. And I used to get like worried, like why am I not? But I'm just my brain is stubborn. It takes time for me to get rid of stuff, and so it was like a process. It took me like 4 or 5 years to process all that out. But good points, and I'm glad that we got to talk about that because it's important.
Yep, I'll use all of it against you one day.
I'm sure you will. I'm sure you will. I wouldn't expect anything less.
No.
Well,
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had a fun time. Maybe you're done with your popcorn by now. And have a good one.
thank you for tuning
Rest
in.
up. Have a good Christmas, I think. Something like
Stay
that.
out of the snow.
Christmas was over a while ago.
That's fine.
Christmas was last year.